I was standing in my own driveway on my birthday, staring at my mother while she pointed a finger directly in my face. I hadn't even had a slice of the cake sitting on the counter inside, but that didn't matter to her. She wasn't asking if I was okay. She was screaming at me. "This is your fault, Mira," she yelled, her voice echoing so the whole neighborhood could hear. "You're the oldest. You should have supervised him. You knew he wasn't ready for a car with that much power." I just stood there, completely numb, while my brother Liam hid behind her like a coward, not even able to look me in the eye after what he'd just done. Can you imagine? It was my birthday, and I was being blamed for him being a reckless idiot. Only 2 hours ago, that $111,000 Tesla was the answer to all my prayers. My grandfather Arthur's gift, so I wouldn't have to take 3 buses home from the hospital through dangerous neighborhoods in the middle of the night anymore. Now, it was a twisted hunk of smoking metal in a ditch, and my parents were demanding I sign a lie that could put me in prison just to save their precious, golden boy. They didn't care that it was my birthday. They didn't care that I was the one working grueling 12-hour shifts while Liam stayed home finding himself. To them, I was just a safety net for his mistakes. My father, Robert, didn't even look up from his phone. "Just sign the insurance papers, Mira," he muttered. "Tell them you were behind the wheel. We can't let Liam's life be ruined over an accident." But as the police sirens wailed in the distance, I felt a strange, cold calm. My mother thought she was protecting her favorite son, but she forgot one tiny detail. That Tesla has eyes. It records everything. Every word, every laugh, and every betrayal. And what I found on those recordings? It didn't just break my heart. It gave me the weapon I needed to take them all down. But before I tell you how I wiped that smirk off Liam's face and watched my parents' world crumble, you need to understand just how deep this knife really went. I work as a nurse in a part of the city that most people avoid during the day, let alone at 2 a.m. My shifts are 12 hours of pure exhaustion, standing on my feet until they ache. And then comes the worst part, the commute. To get home, I have to walk 3 blocks to a bus stop that has no lights, wait for a bus that's always late, and then transfer to a subway station where I've been followed more times than I can count. It's terrifying, but I had no choice. I remember texting my mom once because a guy was staring at me at the station, and she just told me to carry pepper spray and stop being dramatic. But my grandpa Arthur, he was the only one who actually cared. He saw me. He knew I was working myself to the bone while my brother Liam was at home, sleeping until noon, and complaining about the stress of looking for a job he'd never actually take. Arthur called me from his hospital bed, his voice weak but firm. "Mira, I'm tired of seeing you risk your life for a paycheck," he told me. "I'm buying you that Tesla. It's safe, it has cameras, and you've earned it." I cried for an hour after that call. I finally felt like someone acknowledged my struggle. But when I told my parents, the look on my mother's face wasn't joy. It was bitter. She and my father didn't see it as my reward. They saw it as an unfair advantage I had over Liam. "Why does she get a luxury car while Liam has to walk?" I heard my mom whispering to my dad that night. I didn't think much of it then, but I should have. Because as my birthday approached, my mother was already making sure my gift would never be mine. If you've ever felt like the invisible child while someone else got all the glory, subscribe and join our community. I need to know, has your family ever treated you like a safety net for their mistakes? Tell me your story in the comments. I got home from a grueling 12-hour shift on my birthday, smelling like hospital disinfectant and feeling every bit of my exhaustion. All I wanted was a shower and a piece of cake. But when I pulled up to the house, there it was, a white Tesla Model S, shining under the streetlights with a massive red bow on the hood. My heart literally skipped a beat. Grandpa Arthur had actually done it. I felt this huge wave of relief. No more dark bus stops. No more looking over my shoulder at the subway station. I walked inside, and the whole family was there. My mom, Amelia, had this fake, sugary smile on her face that usually meant she was about to screw me over. "Happy birthday, Mira," she chirped, handing me a glass of cheap sparkling cider. My dad, Robert, was standing by the window, already holding a set of keys in his hand. I reached out, my fingers trembling, ready to finally feel that weight. But he didn't move. He just looked at Liam, who was lounging on the sofa, looking even smugger than usual. "Mira, honey," my mom started, her voice taking on that reasonable tone she uses right before she does something unforgivable. "We talked to your grandfather. Well, we told him how things are really going here. And we all decided, including your father and I, that while this was technically meant for you, Liam needs it more right now." I froze. My hand was still hanging in the air. "What are you talking about? Grandpa bought that for me. He told me himself on the phone. He's old and he's medicated, Mira," Robert snapped, finally stepping toward us. "Liam has big interviews coming up. He needs to look like a success if he's going to get a serious job. You already have a stable career. You're used to the commute. You've been doing it for years. It's only fair that your brother gets a little help to get on his feet." Before I could even find my voice to scream, my dad tossed the keys. Not to me, to Liam. My brother caught them with a grin that made my blood run cold. "Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Mom," he said, not even glancing my way. "I'm gonna go show the guys. This is gonna look so sick on my Instagram feed." He walked right past me, bumping my shoulder like I was invisible. Within seconds, I heard the door of my car slam shut. I looked at my parents, my eyes stinging with tears of pure rage. "You stole my gift," I whispered. My mom just sighed and started cutting the cake like it was any other Tuesday. "Don't be so dramatic and selfish, Mira. It's just a car. Family helps family, and you're doing just fine without it." I watched through the window as Liam pulled out of the driveway, his phone already out, filming himself behind the wheel of a $111,000 machine he didn't earn and didn't know how to respect. I was devastated, but as I saw the red Sentry Mode light blink on the dash as he drove away, a thought hit me. My parents didn't realize that Grandpa Arthur hadn't just bought a car, he'd bought a witness, and Liam was about to give that witness plenty to talk about. I sat at the kitchen table, the silence of the house feeling like a physical weight on my chest. My parents were actually in the other room chatting about the weather, while Liam was out there with my life-changing gift. I couldn't handle their casual cruelty, so I retreated to my room and did what I knew would only make me feel worse. I opened Instagram. Liam was already on a roll. He had posted 5 stories in less than 20 minutes. The first was a close-up of the Tesla logo with the caption, "Hard work finally pays off." Hard work? The kid hadn't worked a day in his life. The next few were even worse. He was blasting bass-heavy music, the interior lights of the Tesla glowing neon, and he was doing 95 miles per hour on the interstate. He was filming with one hand and had the other draped over the passenger seat, showing off the car's autopilot while laughing like he was invincible. "Mira thinks she's the only one who deserves nice things," he said to the camera, a smug grin plastered on his face. "But Mom and Dad know who the real star of the family is." I felt a knot of pure anxiety in my stomach. That car was a precision machine, not a toy for a spoiled kid. I watched as he swerved between lanes, the Sentry Mode notifications starting to pop up on my own phone because the app was still linked to my account. I could see his location and his speed, everything. And then, suddenly, his live stream cut to black. 10 minutes of silence followed. I was pacing my room, heart hammering against my ribs, when the house phone rang. I heard my mother pick it up, her cheerful, "Hello?" quickly turning into a blood-curdling scream. If you've ever had a sibling take everything from you, subscribe and tell me your story in the comments. I need to know I'm not alone in this. My mother came flying into my room, her face deathly pale, and what she said next changed everything. "I can't believe they had the nerve to ask me this. If you think I should stand my ground and let karma take over, hit that subscribe button right now. What would you do if your own mother looked you in the eye and asked you to ruin your life for a lie?" My mother didn't just come into my room. She collapsed onto my bed, sobbing that Liam had hit something. But as we drove to the crash site, her sobs turned into a frantic, calculating whisper. We pulled up to find my beautiful $111,000 Tesla, the one I dreamt of for safety, smashed into a concrete barrier. It was a total loss. Liam was sitting on the curb, unhurt, but bawling his eyes out, mostly because he knew he was in deep trouble. But then, the air in the car changed. My father, Robert, gripped the steering wheel and looked at me through the rearview mirror with a look I'll never forget. "Mira," he said, his voice cold and commanding. "Here's what's going to happen. When the police ask, you were the one driving. You just got distracted by the birthday celebrations and lost control." I felt like I'd been slapped. "Are you kidding me? He stole my car and wrecked it. I'm not lying to the cops." My mother grabbed my arm, her nails digging into my skin. "Mira, please. Liam doesn't have a job yet. If he has a reckless driving charge on his record, his life is over. You're a nurse. You're respected. They'll just see it as a mistake. If the insurance thinks he was joyriding, they won't pay a cent and we'll be ruined." They weren't asking. They were demanding. They wanted me to commit insurance fraud, a federal crime, to protect the son who had just destroyed my only hope for a safe life. Robert actually had the nerve to say that since I loved my brother, I should be happy to sacrifice my career for him. I looked at Liam, who was now looking at me with those pathetic save me eyes, and then back at my parents. They truly lived in a world where I was just a tool to be used. But as I reached into my pocket, I felt my phone vibrate with a new notification. My mother thought she could rewrite history, but she forgot that the truth was already saved in high definition. I didn't say a word to them on the ride home. I just sat in the back of my father's car, clutching my phone like a lifeline while my mother kept whispering about family loyalty and saving Liam's future. They thought I was silenced by the weight of their demands. They thought they had successfully backed me into a corner. But the second I got to my room and locked the door, I pulled up the Tesla app. I had set up the remote cloud viewing the day Grandpa Arthur told me the car was coming, mostly because I was excited about the security features. I never dreamed I'd be using them to spy on my own parents. I started the playback from the moment my dad tossed Liam those keys in the driveway. The audio was hauntingly clear. I saw my mom and dad leaning into the driver's side window before Liam pulled away, their faces lit up with a conspiratorial glow. "Listen, Liam." My mother's voice came through the speakers, a sharp whisper that made my skin crawl. "Don't worry about Mira. We'll handle your grandfather later. We'll just tell him he was confused from the meds, and that he actually told us he changed his mind, that he preferred giving the Tesla to you instead of her. She doesn't need a car like this anyway. She's used to the bus." My father's laugh followed, a sound that broke whatever was left of my heart. "Exactly," Robert said. "She's too responsible for her own good. She won't fight us. She's a good girl. She'll just take it." Hearing my own father call my hard work and reliability a weakness felt like a physical blow to my stomach. They didn't care that I worked 12-hour shifts while Liam slept. They didn't care that I was terrified every night at that subway station. To them, my safety was a fair trade for Liam's ego. They were willing to gaslight a sick, elderly man on his deathbed just to spoil a son who had already destroyed a $111,000 machine in less than 2 hours. I sat there in the dark, watching the footage over and over until my tears turned into ice-cold resolve. They wanted me to talk to the insurance adjuster tomorrow morning. Fine. I would give them exactly what they wanted. But I was about to make sure my good girl days were officially over. The truth is about to come out, and it's not going to be pretty. If you believe that karma always finds its way, subscribe and stay with me until the end. Do you think my parents deserve what's coming to them? Or am I being too harsh? The insurance adjuster, Mr. Henderson, arrived the next morning. My mother was practically vibrating with nervous energy, squeezing my arm so hard it bruised. "Remember, Mira," she hissed. "Tell him you were the one driving." We sat in the living room, a heavy silence hanging over us. Robert looked stoic, while Liam couldn't stop fidgeting. Mr. Henderson opened his file and looked directly at me. "So, Ms. Mira, walk me through the accident. You were behind the wheel, correct?" I looked at my mother's expectant face, then at Liam's fake desperation. This was it. "No, Mr. Henderson," I said, my voice steady for the first time in years. "I wasn't, and I'm not going to prison for a lie." Before they could even gasp, I slid a USB drive across the table. This is the Sentry Mode footage. It shows Liam driving at nearly 100 mph while filming himself. It also captures the conversation where my parents conspired to commit insurance fraud and steal my grandfather's gift. The look on their faces? Pure, unadulterated horror. Mr. Henderson's eyes went wide as he watched the truth unfold. The good girl was gone. The $111,000 debt was now theirs alone to carry. Grandpa Arthur was devastated by the betrayal, but he didn't hesitate. He cut my parents off entirely and transferred his remaining assets into a trust in my name. I used the insurance money to move into a safe, beautiful apartment right next to the hospital. Liam is still drowning in debt for the car he destroyed, and I haven't answered a single one of my mother's frantic, desperate calls. If you believe I did the right thing, subscribe and share your thoughts below. Real justice.